What is going on, everybody? It's your boys. It's Bleed. It's Almac. It's Bloodshed, baby. And UFC 264. It's just wrapped up. It's just got over. Our boy Dana White just shut up. And here we are live. Oh, my goodness. Al, we have a ton to talk about here. Of course, the main event, which we will absolutely get to. Al, man, how are you doing after this card? I know we saw you before the card. We're getting with you after. What is the deal? How'd you do? What'd you think of the card? Hit us with it.
It was great. Like usually I'll come on here and I'll bitch about the commentary. I'll cry about the gambling, the bad bets that are being advertised. But tonight it was good, man. I lost money. I went 9-12, but I lost like 1 unit, basically on a fight that was it was just a fluke, I guess. I don't even know if you can call it a fluke. We'll get there in Irene Aldana and Yana Kunitskaya. But, the main event went the way that, well, I guess I can't say it went the way I thought it was going to, but it was going the way that I thought it was until a freak accident happened. But, yeah, just a wild one. Just so MMA, so UFC. Just one of those ones that we'll remember for a really long time.
You'll never forget where you were when Conor McGregor broke his leg in 2 pieces, right? Yeah, it's one of those moments. Yeah, so Al, we got to go over it, man. We always go over these main card results, how we did betting, all that. We might as well kick right into it, man. Al, our first fight on the main card tonight, Sean O'Malley gets the TKO. Kris Moutinho on zombie mode for 14 minutes and 33 seconds. O'Malley gets it done. Let's keep it real. This was very close, Al. I said it in the pre-show. I've been hammering it all week. If Sean O'Malley did not, which, listen, I honestly kind of got to retract my words here. I said if Sean O'Malley does not get a highlight reel KO, Sean O'Malley did not get a highlight reel KO tonight. Did he have some highlight reel moments? Absolutely. Did he dominate the fight from pillar to post the entirety of the fight? Absolutely. Wins this one. Al, I got to be honest. Praise be to Herb Dean, because Herb Dean hooked up your boy heavy tonight. Because, listen, my parlay of the week was Ilia Topuria comes through with just utter dominance against the peeing dog technique of Ryan Hall. That was my first leg. And then absolute domination, man. That fight was way more lopsided than I expected it to be. Ilia Topuria, the real deal. Ryan Hall, not sure if we see this guy really much longer here in the UFC. But what I'm getting at is what was my second leg? Sean O'Malley by KO TKO. And Al, that was one of those bets that I'm not kidding. Going into the third round, I said, this Moutinho kid's too tough. This is a dude who I've watched get finished. I've watched gas on the regional scene, and he's going to come in here short notice and make it to the scorecards against Sean O'Malley. Herb Dean, you beautiful bastard. I thank you so much for jumping in there and waving this fight off to the dismay of a lot of people. Let's keep it real. Kris Moutinho wasn't going to win the fight, had no chance of winning that fight with the 22 seconds that were still on the clock. And all Herb Dean really did was save the guy 2 or 3 extra concussions that would have been just piled on top of the 30 to 40 he already suffered in the fight. I don't have a problem with it, but I'm obviously biased. Parlay of the week cashes. I'm going to – listen, it's a 2-legger. I always do a 2-legger. I'm going to call it a 3-legger. I'm going to say that I had money on Ilia Topuria, Sean O'Malley, KO TKO, and my man Herb Dean, who was just the clutchest of all and gets me this win. Al, did you have anything on this one?
Yeah, I had fight goes the distance no, which
oh, buddy. Hey, we got to take those wins when we get them right there, right?
Yeah, and I forgot to even mention it, but the the fight goes the distance. No, went as we said it would, with 7 of the 12 fights ending in stoppage. So I feel
there
like
we go.
I feel like the crowd kind of had a little bit of say, especially in the women's fight that we'll get to. But yeah, oh man, I got to take back everything that I said about Kris Moutinho, because this guy, when they just revel about how tough somebody is, that they're losing the fight terribly. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, when the best they have is, my God, this guy's tough. That's a really nice way of saying, man, this dude's getting fucked up, right?
Yeah. And like, I understand where you're coming from about just trying to protect the fighter, but I also come from just the mentality of like, you know what? He earned that beating. He earned those 30 extra seconds. You know what I mean? Like, if that was boxing, I guess I would be okay with that, but his legs weren't wobbled, like, I don't know. It was the fight should have been stopped, but I understand totally why he was very upset. It is what it is, though. He got a $75K bonus, though,
right?
Which is awesome.
He did. He got $75K bonus, and I mean, let's keep it real though. In my personal opinion, I think he absorbed about, I don't know, maybe $2 million worth of brain trauma. But
yes, that is.
Hey, congrats to the kid coming in short notice and getting a $75K. I mean, this dude made more money in this fight, short notice, Sean O'Malley, on a one-sided beating than like half the UFC roster have made in their career. So $75,000, not a bad look for a dude who a week ago, I listen, and Al, you know what? I went a little too hard on the dude too. I called him a dollar store joker, I said that, tomorrow he'll be back at Little Caesars. I'm going to say he gets an off day. Call your manager, say, bro, I don't know if you watched that fight. I got a headache. I'm not coming in tomorrow. But you're right, Al. Kris Moutinho, is this a top-level dude? No. Does he have unreal toughness? Yes. Do I see this guy having success in the UFC? Maybe, but honestly, probably not, man. He had moments. He did have opportunities where he closed the distance and came close to landing some good hard shots on O'Malley. The dude's just too fast, too evasive, too long. Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, Al, but the fight was 20 seconds away from being an utterly huge disappointment, honestly, as far as a one-sided beating goes for Sean O'Malley, right? And he still didn't get that big KO, which honestly the dude thought that he had it in the bag first round, out there dribbling around, says this one's for the Suns, repping the hometown boys. He's fighting out of Arizona, the Phoenix Suns, absolutely in the finals, dominating thus far. Sean's trying to even had merch in the Suns style, if you will, recently. And I think Sugar thought he was going to get that spectacular KO. Moutinho just too damn tough. Eats the shots, gets rocked, I mean, time and time again, but keeps coming forward, even talking trash, right, at some point. But this was a one-sided beating. And I don't know, man. Moutinho, I didn't see a lot to love. Like you said, when we're talking about a guy's toughness, it's not necessarily a good showing. Sean O'Malley, it's hard to say. His stock definitely didn't take a huge bump upward, right? The trajectory didn't, we're not looking at the charts and it's continuing that trajectory. I don't think he lost anything on his stock, but not a lot was gained, unfortunately. So the sugar show is still on though, whether it be the assist from Herb Dean or not. Al, do you have any parting thoughts on this fight before we move on?
I still want to see Kris Moutinho in the UFC though. Even if you can just give him Thomas Almeida. You know what I mean? Just put the two guys that got destroyed by O'Malley and put them against each other. And as far as O'Malley goes, he called out 3 guys who I think have a good chance of beating him. He's 7-1 in the UFC with 5 stoppages now, but he's handpicked his opponents. You know, they went to their local Little Caesars and were like, this guy, he's perfect for us. And, you know, or before that, they took a guy who almost his career was over. Basically, he had career-ending eye surgery and wanted to come back. And Sean O'Malley was like, I'll take him. And that's what not to mention he was like 5'2". So, if he fights Cody Garbrandt, Dominic Cruz, or Peter Yan, he's dead. You know, I will say this, though. I wish I said in the post-show, I said in the pre-show that the over 1.5 is probably a good look. And I managed to, you know, I wish I bet that because I would have managed to cash that and then also fight goes the distance no, which is the only reason I didn't do that is because I hate to, you know, try to middle a fight like that. But that would have been a good one. And what do you just quickly? What do you think about the realistic fight that he has next?
According to Cody's manager Ali Abdelaziz, he's already got a fight booked at flyweight, so take him out of the equation. It sounds like that paperwork's pretty much already signed. Dominic Cruz, I think, is interesting. You know, I still don't think Dominic Cruz. Don't get me wrong, very impressive performance against Casey Kenny. Right? I thought that fight was going to be much closer, and Dominic Cruz is still a legit guy because Casey Kenny's very, very good. Petr Yan, that's a death sentence. I mean, Petr Yan is going to come in here and show this dude what having, you know, hollow, brittle bird bones for ankles, it's not going to work out. Petr Yan absolutely thrashes Sean O'Malley in my estimations. You know, I think it could be a pretty good fight at striking distance, but once Petr Yan got his hands on that dude, I think it would get ugly real fast, and I think it would look essentially like the Chito Vera fight, maybe even more gnarly, more aggressive, because Petr Yan, for my money, baddest 135-pound dude we've potentially ever seen at the UFC, and I honestly don't think most people are aware how good Petr Yan is right now, just because we haven't seen the guy that much, and you know he got his belt taken off him in the worst way possible. But I think the UFC knows the deal with O'Malley. I think they kind of have a good read on what his ceiling is right now, where he should be. And let's keep it real. He's a money machine. He's a marketing machine. The fans absolutely love him. And I think we're going to see the UFC have favorable matchmaking and continue to put this guy in spots where he's going up against guys that are going to be good potential guys to get on a highlight reel KO. So I think they're going to play the long game here with Sean O'Malley. I will say this, though. You almost thought maybe the sugar show was over when this guy lost to Chito Vera. This dude's like bulletproof. Like his stock did not go down losing a dominant loss to Chito Vera, you know? Yeah. I mean, it just blows me away how people just don't care. And it's the sugar show. Like it never happened. I mean, it's like O'Malley, he says, still undefeated. People are like, okay, yeah, let's go with that. Like, yeah, you know, it just blows my mind. But the guy obviously has bottled some of that magic. It does remind me of, you know, the early McGregor type scenario, but he's not getting these incredible dominant victories, and it's obviously nowhere near it. It's kind of like if Conor McGregor, you know, smoked weed and did acid on the weekends and also like lost a fight on the come up, you know what I mean? But Sean O'Malley's here to stay. He's a fan favorite, and they're going to continue to push this guy absolutely in our faces. And like I said, I think we probably see him go out there and hopefully fight somebody with a bigger name than Kris Moutinho next time. And I think they try to get him some of these aged out guys that have chin issues. What do you think, Al?
Yeah, maybe they'll go to a Domino's or a Pizza Hut.
Domino's or Pizza Hut's up next for sure. You'd have to think.
All right. Yeah, let's move on.
Let's move on, definitely. All right, so our next fight. Oh, buddy, Al, we ate it on this one, bro. Irene Aldana, 4 minutes, 35 seconds of round number 1. The goddamn left hook. Al, this was not a good performance. This was not a good fight IQ showing from Yana Kunitskaya, right? This was Kunitskaya giving Irene Aldana the fight she needed, a fight at boxing range, rushing in, overly aggressive, terrible entries to these grappling exchanges, just kind of running in and trying to grab her. Way too spasticated, overly aggressive, sloppy, slow. This just was not good. Kunitskaya needed to get this fight up against the cage, needed to get this fight to the mat. Instead, on a terrible, blind, just running in entry, Aldana clips Aldana with the boxing. We talked about it. I felt like Aldana to win this fight had a more limited path to victory, and it was going to need to be winning this fight in boxing range. Lands that big left hook that we've seen her land time and time again, hurts Kunitskaya, jumps on her, handles her business on the ground. Hey, I took the dog shot on Yana Kunitskaya, doesn't come through. Al, here's where I am a little bit mad at myself. I've had a rule for a very long time. You don't bet against a woman's fighter who misses weight, and you don't bet a woman's fighter who's missed weight. It adds an X factor. Wish it would have been enough to scare me off the spot. It wasn't. I bet Kunitskaya, she takes the L. Al, what'd you think?
Yeah, it was like all that needed to happen was Kunitskaya to win this fight, because in the look ahead, we got the closing line value. She was like plus 130 3 weeks ago when I pinpointed this, and then she came down all the way, closed as the favorite, and as far as what we're supposed to do as bettors, we did it all. And Kunitskaya, just everything the reason that I picked her here, she did the opposite of, like anytime you see somebody do one of those lazy, like spinning back fists because they missed a punch, like the Macy Barber special, that once she did that, I was like, oh, she's going to lose. And I didn't expect her to get knocked out. And I know that these women, they're not bantamweights, but this is like, I don't have the stat right in front of me because they are bantamweights, but this wasn't a bantamweight fight. This is only like the third fight in the women's bantamweight division since January of last year that has gone under the betting total. Crazy number where it's like 27-2 or 27-3 now to the over. So this is a really rare stoppage in between two women who are bantamweight fighters. But again, this Aldana missed weight by 3.5 pounds, coming in at like 139. And to be honest, that probably had a factor here, having the heavy hands. You know what I mean? And this was just, I feel like we handicapped this right. I feel like we approached it right, and it just like Max Holloway would say, like, some days it's not your night. you know?
And now you're right? We knew that the path to victory for Aldana was going to be to use that boxing. We know her left hook's nasty. She found it. We beat the line movement. We bet her as an underdog, right, at very good plus money. She ends up going off as the favorite. I mean, from a gambling perspective, I guess we had a lot of good things in our favor, but guess what? Good bets lose all the time. Bad bets win. And I'm not even saying it's a bad bet. If you had Irene Aldana, you had a good bet, especially if you waited until really late and got her at the plus money. So is what it is, man. Irene Aldana, I feel like she's still fairly one-dimensional. Is showing us some ground skills, though. And, it's real tough, man, because it's like you want to give her credit. You want to say it was a good performance. And it was overall. She came out of the fight without a mark on her. Early on has Kunitskaya bleeding out of the nose. I just think that it is what it was. Aldana misses weight, and it's tough to give her full credit with the weight miss, because let's keep it real. It's not kosher, right? But Aldana's the better fighter tonight. Again, it's the fight IQ, it's the game plan, it's the strategy from Kunitskaya that really fails her here in this spot. I don't know, man. Kunitskaya, I just feel like I can't trust this chick. And to be honest, she's one of the fighters that I have the hardest time getting behind. I swear when I get behind this chick and feel like I'm in a good spot with her, she'll drop the ball. Then there's other times where I go, you know what? I think whoever's probably going to have the edge here, she'll come through. So, man, I just have not had a good run with Kunitskaya. And that probably should have been enough to just spook me off the spot entirely. But hey, I thought I had a good spot. Doesn't come through. What do you think, Al? Should we move on here?
Yeah, this next one was a good one. This was one of the highlights of the evening.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Tai Tuivasa in 1 minute and 7 seconds takes out the big bum, the failure as a fighter, the guy who has 0 wins over anyone currently on the UFC roster. I mean, it's 1 minute and 7 seconds. I will say this. Greg Hardy hit Tai Tuivasa with a very good shot. Literally wobbles him, and then as he comes in to try to put more damage on him, eats a massive shot, knuckle right to the eyeball. I honestly think this was less of Greg Hardy getting hit with a shot that rocked him and more of him eating a punch to the eyeball and saying, you know what, that hurts really bad, and I don't want to do this anymore tonight, and him just essentially crumpling and giving up. Props to Tai Tuivasa. The guy took, I want to say 1 shoey in the octagon and then about 3 on his way out, even one that had a shot of Dustin Poirier's hot sauce poured in it. You could see Tai misses the guy pouring the hot sauce in it, takes a drink, and is like, what is go? I think he got pranked by like someone like pouring something really weird in the beer. And he's like, oh, you poured some hot sauce in it. Well, that sucks. Yeah, how can you not be happy for Tai Tuivasa? Like I tweeted out, Tai Tuivasa is a party. This guy is a literal human embodiment of partying, and that's just what he does. Props to him. I had nothing on this fight. I picked Greg Hardy to win. I thought Greg Hardy could have came in here, used his length, used his physicality, and won this fight. Neither guy am I impressed with their ability to fight beyond the first round. Tai Tuivasa comes in here. We talked about the leg kicks earlier. I felt like the leg kicks of Tai Tuivasa were going to be absolutely key. They absolutely were. He comes in here, honestly, just fights a real clean game plan, chops Greg Hardy with 4 or 5 massive leg kicks, strikes it, catches him off guard, hits him with a big shot. Props to Tai Tuivasa. And Greg Hardy is just, he plays it like an evil villain role. And it was just like a big win for the fans, for everybody to see the bad guy go down. Tai Tuivasa celebrating the gelatinous melting body of Tai Tuivasa up on the cage taking shoeies. It's a thing of beauty, man. What do you think, Al?
Yeah, I had Tuivasa, and it just came down to basically his striking to me and his IQ to be able to react when he gets rocked. Like I said, one of his main training partners is Mark Hunt, who I just imagine these guys just severely hurting each other for fun, and I just didn't think that Greg Hardy has the sharpness to his striking to try to bang with Tai Tuivasa, who frankly, if you compare him to a lot of other heavyweights, isn't that good. But like Dana White said, this was a big night for Greg Hardy. This was kind of a litmus test. This was kind of a loser leaves town, to be honest, because Tai Tuivasa, he came in red hot, and then he lost 3 in a row, and then came back. Who did he beat in Fight Island? His last fight, but now he has another win, so 2 in a row. He's going again. The one thing that I wanted to mention with Greg Hardy. So I think he's now 4-1 in the UFC, and bettors who have bet against him on his opponent inside the distance have gone 3-5 for plus $465 profit, and that's counting the illegal knee. He lost the one fight with an illegal knee, which counts as a loss inside the distance. So. He's just been an utter failure in this in the UFC, and at this point, better fighters have been cut. So right. I think that's the thing is like if he gets cut and then tries to work his way back in some type of lower level, all the power to him. But that'll be the thing to prove like. he's not even really in this for to be a professional. He's just in this basically to earn a paycheck, to just go, and it's different. And look at the praise that Tuivasa, if you look on Twitter, a lot of his pupils very supportive of what he did tonight, and it speaks volumes about what people think of Greg Hardy. Apart from his fighting ability, apart from his NFL career, there's some other stuff in there that is the reason why people think he's kind of a piece of shit. So tonight was a good night on that front.
Yeah, he's a real bum. He's a scumbag. He claims he's going to go over to boxing. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the last time we see him in the octagon. I mean, the way that dude ate leg kicks tonight, I think he's probably like, you know what? I'm going to need to do whatever that's not allowed in, which would be boxing. And I got news for people. He's probably going to go over to boxing. They're probably going to give him some warm bodies to go in there and punch 2 or 3 times, and they'll fall over. But if this guy even makes it to, and I'm being for real, I'm talking the lower rung of professional heavyweight boxers, he's going to get pieced up and knocked out there. I'm not even talking middling dudes. I'm talking like the lowest level guys you're aware of are going to beat Greg Hardy in boxing. It's not going to play out. He's a bum. He's in straight up, this is all I needed to see. He's a forever fade. He's got no heart. He's a cheater, scumbag. He covers it all, really, and that's all there is to it. Al, do you want to keep rolling here?
Yeah, let's go on to the next one. The next one was got some stuff to talk about that might not even be fight related.
Yeah, dude, I am telling you what, Al, this was seriously one of my most confident spots. But nonetheless, Gilbert Burns gets the unanimous decision win. All 3 judges, 29-28. I got to say, I agree with it. And I felt like this fight was going to come down to Gilbert Burns would absolutely have to get Stephen Wonderboy Thompson down. I said I wasn't impressed with the numbers as far as Gilbert Burns' success with the takedown. I was very impressed with Stephen Thompson's ability to defend the takedown. It's not how it played out. Gilbert Burns goes out there. I mean, when this fight's on the feet, Wonderboy's winning. Wonderboy's landing the better shots. Even at one point drops Gilbert Burns. But the problem is all 3 rounds at some point, Gilbert Burns gets on the hips of Wonderboy. He has to work for it. It's not easy. It does not come easy. But sure enough, he finds the angle. He gets him down. And when he finally can get Stephen Thompson's back flat to the mat, Wonderboy has nothing in the area of getting up. And late in these rounds, Gilbert Burns would get off some fairly decent ground and pound. That's the whole fight. That's the whole fight. Is Wonderboy had to keep it standing. He doesn't. Gets taken down all 3 rounds. All 3 judges give Gilbert Burns 2 rounds. I think it's fair. Gilbert Burns, I got to give him props, man. This was the path to victory, and he went out there and pulled it off. Al, I had Wonderboy. You had Burns. Props, my man. You got it done. What'd you think?
It was basically – it was the opposite of usually what I say when I say that, right away when the fight started, I had a feeling that I was going to lose. It was the opposite of that just because of the way that Burns was feinting his shoots. He was doing a really good job of keeping Wonderboy guessing, mixing his just classic Henry Hoof style, right? Like just that classic mixing your wrestle boxing, mixing your takedown, mixing your entries with your strikes, feinting with your and mixing that up with his left hand. It was exactly what I wanted to see, and it definitely exceeded my expectations. And then I feel like Wonderboy was just too hesitant. Like I feel like if this fight was 5 rounds, he probably would have had a lot better, I think he would have paced the fight out better in his mind, because I just feel like he ran out of time multiple times in this fight. He just ran out of time. And man, it's a rough thing with Gilbert Burns. One thing I will say though, the crowd did not like his fight style, to the point where there was just a massive cascade of boos. in the middle of the third round, and I was just like, this is like, I've never heard anybody boo this big of a takedown. And then I saw on the internet, I saw on Twitter that no, that was when Trump entered.
Right,
So,
there you go. That's which is kind of surprising, right? I mean, he's in Vegas, kind of seems like a pro-Trump town, but hey, who knows, man? We're not here to play that game. But yeah, Al, you're totally right, man. I'll say this though. I mean, it was a fairly close fight. I honestly think if Wonderboy defends that last takedown, if Gilbert Burns doesn't finish that third round on top, and Wonderboy keeps it on the feet and continued to have the success he was having, I honestly think this fight probably came down to literally the last minute in that third round, and I think that's what swayed that third round. I think they were 1-1 going into the third, and Gilbert Burns steals it, hitting that takedown and landing some good ground and pound to finish this fight. So, man, we got to talk about it. Wonderboy, 38 years old. You know what I mean? And let's keep it real. I'm going to tell you guys right now, if Gilbert Burns could go out there and have that level of success offensively wrestling Wonderboy, my man Kamaru Usman beats Wonderboy 50-45, if not finishes him at some point. I mean, straight up, that question's answered, folks. Wonderboy would not beat Usman. I'm going to tell you that right now. Usman beats Wonderboy. So we don't need to worry about that matchup anymore. Wonderboy, I hate to say it, dude, you had your shots against Woodley. You blew it. The man will never have gold, plain and simple. There's no way at welterweight with all these killers he's going to be able to string together enough wins to get back to the title and not be 42 years old. So I'm a fan of Wonderboy. I think it's been great, but I think that's a wrap, man. I'm not saying he's going to retire. I'm not going to say that's his last fight, but you'll never see Wonderboy as the champion as long as guys like Gilbert Burns, Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington are at the top, because they all beat him. I mean, Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman absolutely work Wonderboy, and plain and simple. If he doesn't find the KO early, it would be rinse and repeat like we saw tonight, because a top-level grappler on top of him with a real heavy top game, dude can't get up, and it's just that simple. So what do you think, Al? Do we roll on here and talk about this main event?
Just really quickly, I wanted to talk about Burns winning by decision. He's now 13-4 in the UFC. He's won six of his 13 wins by decision. $100 bettor who's backed Burns by decision in each of his fights has turned a profit of $1,261. He cashed at plus 415 to win inside the distance. And just as far as he goes forward, he called out, he mentioned Leon Edwards. I like that fight. I think that would be a pretty decent fight. Like, there, besides Covington or Edwards, he also mentioned Diaz. That makes no sense. So yeah, I would like, you know.
He also mentioned Masvidal, which, let's be honest, that doesn't make sense either. But guess what? You know what does make sense? Them dollars, baby. Yeah, and that's a seller. You know what I mean?
That's probably more realistic then, right? Like,
yeah.
Because he's fighting way up in the rankings, Masvidal is. And then really quickly, just humor me here. What if Wonderboy moved up to middleweight?
I mean, you got to think Wonderboy's still on the quest for gold, and I don't see it. I don't see it, man. He'd be undersized. If he's having problems, I mean, let's keep it real. He just got taken down and held down by Gilbert Burns, who, don't get me wrong, is a huge welterweight, but at one point was fighting at lightweight. So not like the biggest welterweight in the world as far as frame, but a big, thick, strong dude. So in my mind, if the champion at 170, like I said, I think the best of the best, the elite guys, especially when you look at how grapple heavy the top of welterweight is, it wouldn't be a good look. I think Wonderboy stays at 170. He's got length, he's got reach, he's got good cardio, good pace. And I do think Wonderboy still beats a lot of top 10 guys. It's just going to need to be someone who's willing to stand with him and somebody who's going to come in there and not take the guy down. Because like I said, very strong statistical backing that Wonderboy was going to be able to fend off those takedowns. And he did a couple. But the problem is, once the guy got on his back, that's almost another stat we need, right? We count takedown defense. That's a relevant number that we can quantify, right? I'd like there to be a new set of data we could look at called get-ups, right? When a guy gets taken down, how often does he get up, or how often does he ride out the round until he stood back up? That would be a great number to see. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Wonder Boy's is not great. So he's hard to get down, but once you get him down, man, money in the bank. You're riding out the rest of the round, and the dude just, he's not sweeping, he's not reversing, he's not posting, he's not getting up. And that's, I hate to say it, the blueprint on how you beat Wonder Boy, and it's out there, and I expect pretty much everyone at this point to exploit it.
Okay, one more thing then. Humor me again. The UFC gets Michael Venom Page to the UFC, and we see Wonder Boy versus MVP.
Hey,
because I just want to see.
I just want to see major.
I just want to see two high level, that high level karate style, Taekwondo style, Dutch kickboxing style. Like that, I would love to see him versus Adesanya, but obviously that's not going to happen. But MVP's a welterweight, so get on it, UFC.
I dig that, dude. That's a good look. We should get that fight at some point. I mean, literally the two craziest karate dudes in the game. It'd be phenomenal. All right, I guess. Hey, it's time. And listen, folks. You know what? Caveat, disclaimer, star. Right? I don't ever want to see someone lose a fight this way. Okay? I feel terrible for the Chris Weidmans of the world who've gone through this. I feel bad for Anderson Silva when he went through something similar. But I got to be dead honest. The disrespect, the places Conor McGregor went with the trash talk, the karmic hilarities and points that I'm about to bring together, that when you connect the dots, you know what it shows? When you connect dot 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, you know what it comes out? And then the image that you see at the end? It's Dustin the Diamond Poirier with his hands in the air, winning 2 of 3 against Conor McGregor, straight up. Did I want to see the fight end like this? No, I did not. But Dustin Poirier takes out Conor McGregor. I mean, even saying takes out, I feel like it's a little too strong of a word, right? Conor McGregor breaks his ankle, steps back, essentially rolls his ankle, but his ankle said, you know what? I'm out of this bitch, and just folded up. Al, I hate to say it, man, but you're on Poirier. I'm on Poirier. We bet Poirier. We're taking that win. I'm sticking to my guns because you know what, folks? Leg break or not, I don't care Conor McGregor's leg broke. You know what was going to happen in this fight tonight? You know what was happening in this fight tonight? The better man, the more skilled fighter, the more complete fighter in every way, the guy who won every second of this fight until it was over, Dustin Poirier, was dominating, was going to dominate, and was going to finish Conor McGregor, broken leg or not. It was only a matter of time. Dustin Poirier goes out here and whips Conor McGregor's ass, okay? Conor wanted to take this fight to a dark place. He said a lot of shit that, I'll be honest, Al, all week, you know what? I had this, there was a smell. You know what it was, Al? Desperation by Conor McGregor to try to evoke an angry, emotional, a loading up, a stiff, a tight, a slow, a telegraphing Dustin Poirier. He was trying to goad an angry Dustin Poirier into coming forward aggressively, ignorantly, because guess what? He did it to Aldo. That's why we saw Aldo get slept in 13 seconds. Aldo, literally, they said, all right, here we go, fight start. Aldo said, asleep. And that's what Conor McGregor wanted. He wanted that angry Poirier to come out here, and Poirier just crossed his legs, sat back, pointed at the clown, and laughed all week. And I said, you know what? This is the desperation attempt of Conor McGregor to convince himself. All week, Conor McGregor's talking all this stuff, Al. And you know what I could feel? There was a different feel this week, right? Usually, Conor McGregor, when you hear him talking, he's believing what he's saying, right? Whether he's high on a substance, whether or not, he's got that confidence that's a real rarity, right, in sport, to just be overwhelming confident. And I feel like a lot of times early on, it was Conor McGregor believing in that, trying to get everyone else, the public, to believe it as well. And it worked a lot. And we even saw that this week. I think we saw a lot of people get swayed yet again by the big talk of Conor McGregor. We know we did. The casual fan base absolutely took this bait. I mean, hook, line, and sinker, right? Hook, line, and sinker to the bank. And that just wasn't the case. Conor McGregor wasn't out here talking trash this week to try to get the public to believe. I felt like this was a man saying all this, trying to reinvigorate belief in himself. I could see the unsureness. I could see the stiffness, the aggression, the uncertainty, the desperation of Conor McGregor all week, trying to find that one thing he could get Dustin Poirier to make a mistake. Dustin Poirier comes in here, fights just a systematically perfect fight. I still do have questions. Was it that check of Poirier that set up the injury? I do believe it was. We saw in the instant replay, Conor lands the foot, and it's really the closer to the toes. It was the top of the foot, but he hits pure knee, right? And I believe that a shockwave essentially went through that lower ankle of McGregor, and I bet he did hairline fracture that ankle. Now, he's stepping back on it. He's fighting the fight. The fight continues on. But sure enough, man, that crazy exchange where both guys throw at the same time, no one really lands. Conor goes to step back. The toes don't make it down. The weight, it just goes. His ankle just goes. And I got to say, one last thing before, Al, I let you run with this. Conor McGregor, first one to shoot a dusty bitch. Conor McGregor initiates the grappling first. The first one to get a takedown is a dusty bitch. Conor McGregor shoots the takedown first. Only knockouts count in the sport. Conor McGregor jumps guillotine in the first round against Dustin Poirier. Al, when Conor McGregor jumped that guillotine, the fight was over. I said the fight's over. This man's mentally broken, and he's out here. Has anyone ever seen Conor McGregor attempt a guillotine in their life? And you're going to go out here and guillotine Dustin Poirier in the first round. I mean, don't get me wrong. Had he pulled it off, the world would have shattered. And did my man Poirier get some toes in the cage to kind of help get that off angle? Yeah, he did. But you know what? Conor's out here, fingers in the glove. I don't know if people noticed, but when Conor was throwing those up kicks, he was hooking his fingers in the glove of Poirier, trying to pull Poirier down into those up kicks, which, let's keep it real, if you're going to cheat, which I highly recommend because referees don't really do anything about it. As a matter of fact, if I was like a head coach, I would train groin kicks, eye pokes, cage grabs. That'd be a part of the arsenal because as far as this sport goes, the only thing that really matters is not landing like a knee to the head of a downed opponent. That's an automatic loss. They get to go out there, throw an Oscar-worthy performance, and steal the win, right? But
unless you're in Asia.
Yeah, there you go. But hey, nonetheless, man, Dustin Poirier, like I said, I got to just wrap it. I got to come back to where I started here. The leg break, to me, it's tragic. Does it give Conor McGregor that out where maybe we see this fight a fourth time? I think so, but I'm going to tell you right now, Dustin Poirier beats this man handedly if they rematch again, and he was beating the dog shit out of him tonight. And Dustin Poirier was going to win this fight whether or not Conor McGregor's ankle blows out. Al, take it away.
Yeah, we got so much to digest of what happened here. That exchange where they both missed each other, that's like out of a Rocky movie,
right.
Like, and for that to lead to the leg break, but that it's shades of Sean O'Malley, Cheeto Vera. He kicked them. He checked the leg kick and he pointed, you know what I mean? If you go back, he pointed at him and was like, I got you. Yep. And that hurts. And that leaves your foot numb, right? Which will end up making something like that happen when you go to throw a punch. You go to throw a punch, your forward momentum is making your feet go forward. And if your leg is partially broken and you have numbness, you're going to roll over. Shades of Sean
Absolutely.
O'Malley. Exact same thing. And Yeah, the best line of the night was Poirier said, "Karma's not a bitch, it's a mirror." And the fact that McGregor said Poirier was going to leave in a stretcher, McGregor left in a stretcher, it's poetic justice,
Absolutely.
Like,
I
really,
mean, I'll be honest, man. Coming away from this card, and again, it is tragic. I'm not happy Conor McGregor broke his leg, not at all. I was going to cash a Dustin Poirier ticket tonight, regardless of Conor McGregor breaking his leg. I truly believe that this fight was over. But I will say this, from a karma standpoint, from the world, the MMA world tonight found its balance. Okay, everything now has found the righteous pathway, I feel like, and we saw essentially karma in effect in a way I don't think we've ever seen before. Dustin Poirier comes in, gets booed out of the building. I mean, you'd think Las Vegas would be, a 20-minute drive from Dublin, Ireland, the way this fan base supports Conor McGregor in Las Vegas. I got to be honest, man, this right here, this fight broke down to, and I know I'm going to offend some people here, but public money, dumb money was Conor McGregor tonight. Sharp money was Dustin Poirier, and that's exactly how it played out. Dustin Poirier, the better fighter, the better man. He deserved this win. He was going to get this win, and I feel like we've found balance, and we can now move forward in the world. And Al, I talked about it, man. There were two very distinct timelines. If Conor McGregor won this fight, he's going to be fighting Du Bronx for the belt, and people would forget about all the failures. That's just how this game. It's such a "what have you done for me lately" mentality in this game, right? Whereas now we look at Conor McGregor and it's just loss after loss. Finish, broken leg, tapped out twice. Habib, Nate Diaz, the loss to Floyd Mayweather. I mean, we're in another universe as far as Conor McGregor from where we were 5, 4, 3, even 2 years ago. I mean, one win over the stiff, broken shell that is Cowboy Cerrone in a fight that lasted a minute that I still have moronic people trying to tell me was a fixed fight. Listen, folks, I'm not. This is not a joke, and I've just gotta bring this to people's attention because I've seen this. There's people who think Conor McGregor breaking his leg tonight was a fix. Okay, that's not a joke. I get on social media and I go, "Oh my God!" The most popular comments on a lot of gambling, reactions to this was rigged. If you think Conor McGregor, I guess, had someone surgically break his ankle before the fight tonight so that we could have, like you said, Al, a Rocky moment where they both throw down the pipe, miss, and then Conor could step back on the ankle and break it off and stand on his peg leg, ankle, shin bone. I don't know what to tell you, and I don't know what I can ever tell anyone. That it's just unbelievable. Al, like I said, the way it played out. Again, I'm not going to say I'm happy because I just don't want to see it play out like that. But I am absolutely happy that I was on the right side. Poirier wins this fight. If they fight again, it's max bet Dustin Poirier. I truly believe Dustin Poirier wins this matchup where these guys are at currently in their lives 9 out of 10 times. I really do believe that at this point. And he showed it tonight. Tonight was even a bigger wipeout than what we saw 6 months ago. Conor McGregor had far more success 6 months ago in that first round than he did tonight. Dustin Poirier, I guess, potentially our next future champ. We got to talk about that. Al, is there anything you want to say here about this main event before we start taking a look ahead?
Yeah, just two things that I want to mention. Poirier is now 16-5-1 in his last 22 fights dating back to 2012. 11 of those 16 wins have come by stoppage. If you've bet $100 on Poirier inside the distance since 2012, you're up $1,084. He cashed at plus 155 tonight inside the distance. And then on the flip side, I've been talking about this for, since this rematch was announced. You've made more money fading Conor McGregor inside the distance than you have on any other prop for or against him in his UFC career. You're going to add another one to that tonight. So he's now lost 4 fights inside the distance. So a $100 bettor who's bet against McGregor inside the distance is now up, $357 with a 4-9 record. And this is a guy who is now 3-5 in his last 8 professional fights and 3-4 in his last 7 UFC fights. Mystic Mac is now a myth. There's nothing else to it. And when he was being overly aggressive in this fight, it was just playing right into Dustin's game. And it's Dustin played him like a fiddle, really. It wasn't Poirier that was on edge. It was Conor. Everything that he wanted to do to Dustin, he did to himself. You know what I mean? He just, as soon as the bell rang, it's like whatever game plan went out the window. Why was he doing the guillotine? Why did he go for the grappling? Why did he go for a takedown? You can just, he didn't game plan that. He just lost his composure. And Dustin Poirier is what people think Conor is. He's totally the real deal. Could be, besides our man Khabib, could be one of the greatest lightweights of all time. Like, this guy is just, he's making a good case for some legendary status, UFC Hall of Famer bar none. And this was very satisfying as someone who's just, had a bet on Poirier, but is also just a giant Dustin Poirier fan. The way that this turned out, and just not even a part of the leg break, but just the ground and pound and the way that he played it, it was perfect. And one other thing, I think it was revealed that somebody at Circa Casino walked in and placed like a $50K bet on Poirier. And then after the fight, I think it was revealed that it was Floyd Mayweather put a $50K bet on Poirier inside the distance. So there's probably more of a chance that Conor ends up in a ring with Floyd again than I think that he does with Poirier. Because if I'm Poirier, there's no chance I let him come in for a 4th fight. Conor would need to get like 2 more wins at lightweight if I'm Dustin Poirier to even acknowledge there being a 4th fight. Because,
Al. Well, I mean, first off, we're talking Conor McGregor out for minimum 1 year. I mean, that might even be rushing back, in my personal opinion. There's just no way Poirier sits waiting about with the gold still on the line out there. You know what I mean? We're going to see Dustin Poirier fight probably 1, 2, maybe 3 times, I think, before we ever see Conor McGregor back in the octagon. And folks, I'm not kidding when I say this. That might have been the last time you see Conor McGregor in the octagon. I mean, I'm going to keep it really real right now. He doesn't need the money. He's not the man he was. This is a guy who I said coming into this fight, he does not have the movement he used to have. His movement, right? When he was playing touch butt in the park with Ido Portal, that truly was one of the things that set McGregor apart. His movement, his ability to flow, his flow state, and his ability to get off angles, his timing, his speed. It's just not what it is anymore. He's not that guy. And now we're talking about a flat-footed, stationary McGregor who just broke his leg off. I mean, what do you think we're going to see this guy more fleet-footed now? Do you think we're going to see him lighter than ever coming back off of a broken leg? Not at all. Not at all. If anything, this pushes McGregor further down this pathway that it's just not the same man. It's just that simple. This is not the same guy, and now he's taken a traumatic injury. Listen, what do you think? You think Conor McGregor throws another leg kick the rest of his career? I mean, there's a chance this guy is going to be scarred from this. There's a chance this guy becomes hesitant. And again, he already wasn't that dude anymore right now today. This is not going to help. This is not going to be, we're not going to hear in a year and a half, I've got to be honest, Megan Levy, the leg break was the best thing that ever happened to me. You know what I mean? That's not how this is going to play out, okay? He's not going back to the drawing board. He's not going to be some guy that comes out there hopping on one leg, doesn't need a lead leg. This is it. I'm being dead honest when I say I think there's a very good chance that might be the last time we ever see Conor McGregor in the octagon, maybe in a combat sport format at all. This guy's got some real soul searching to do. And are there other fights out there? Is he still going to sell? Absolutely. The guy's got a absolutely ravenous, dedicated fan base who, drop to their knees and open their mouth and are just ready to gargle, even though this guy's lost, fight after fight after fight. They just don't care. They stick with their guy. I'm sure the pay-per-view sales were off the charts. And they're going to be if Conor comes back. But, man, I just think there's a chance that we don't see this guy. What is there left? All this guy's doing is dirtying, sullying the legacy. He was a desperate, unconfident man in just reaching for – I really felt like the guy was grasping for straws all week. And I could just see this dude – the belief even in himself is just not there anymore. And the one thing Conor McGregor had beyond anything was that self-belief to where this guy literally manifested into being the first champ. But that's deep in the rear view and just a world away at this point. It's just another universe, that McGregor and this McGregor. I wish him the best. I hope he recovers. Like I said, I'm still a fan. Am I a fan of what he does outside the octagon? Not at all. But I absolutely respect what he's done in the octagon, the growth, the attention he's brought to the sport. I appreciate all that. But I don't know, man. Conor McGregor is at a pivotal crossroads, and it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. And as far as Dustin Poirier goes, we know what's going down. It's Poirier, Oliveira. And I wouldn't be surprised if it happens in 2 or 3 months. Dustin Poirier did not need a doctor after this fight. This dude came out of this. This was a light spar for Dustin Poirier. He was putting in harder work, getting in rounds with Masvidal 2 weeks ago than what he had to do tonight, straight up. This was one of the easiest fights of Poirier's career, straight up. And what's next? The shot at the gold. Al, what do you think?
Yeah, Jolie's wife is now 2-1 and against McGregor and ready for a title shot. And I'm just checking now. What are the odds on Oliveira and Poirier? Oliveira's the underdog.
Dustin Poirier. Yeah, I think it's Dustin Poirier minus 185.
I see on FanDuel minus 130, Oliveira plus 120. And then I see it's not even referenced at our good friends at Best Fight Odds. Dustin Poirier is like a minus 185. Yeah, and Oliveira plus 155. I got to say, we'll put this into context, but, for first of all, when do you think that fight would be? It's got to be in the U.S., so it probably won't be one of those Fight Island events that's coming up in like October. I could see this being like New Year's, maybe that works out, or something like that. And I gotta go Dustin. I gotta do it, Dustin.
Yeah. It's a phenomenal fight, first off. And, Al, I almost feel like Oliveira's ready. Oliveira, I think, if they would have said, hey, you want to warm up in the back for 20 minutes and come out and fight Poirier tonight, the dude probably would have done it. The dude's about that life, you know what I mean? But I honestly feel like the ball's probably in Poirier's court. I would honestly understand if this guy wanted to take, 6 months, after the McGregor saga, right, at this point. Like I said, though, at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if they give him a quick turnaround. He's healthy. You know what, though? I say he's healthy. There's a chance they go back and he goes, you know what, now that the adrenaline stopped flowing, you know what, I maybe do have like a foot fracture or something up with an elbow. Who knows? But I think we'd see this fight sooner than later. And Al, that's a good matchup, dude. And I'm very intrigued by these odds, you know? Do Bronx is just a different animal now. But you know who else is a different animal? Dustin Poirier, dude. So all I know is I'm way hyped. This is the outcome. Like I said, you know, not the exact outcome I wanted, but I did want to see Dustin Poirier finish Conor McGregor tonight. He gets it done. Al, we're back on track. We cash those big main event bets. That's always a good feeling, man. Should we take a look ahead, my man, Al?
Yeah, I mean, there's a plethora of stuff coming up. Just really quickly, I just want to, as a part of the look ahead, I just want to handicap this Poirier Oliveira fight a little bit more.
Okay.
It's very interesting if you look at these two guys, their records. I think Oliveira is like 19-3 in his last 22 fights. And Poirier is 16-5-1 now in his last 22 fights. Oliveira has won 14 of his last 22 fights inside the distance, and Poirier has won 11 of his last 22 fights inside the distance. And when it comes to like the units, as I always talk about for the inside the distance prop, they're like neck and neck. Poirier is at, I think, what did I say, 10.89 units on the inside the distance prop, and Oliveira is 9.98 units inside the distance. Basically, what that's saying is that a lot of times Oliveira has been not as lined as high as Poirier has been. Poirier has, cashed some huge underdog prices on the inside the distance line, whereas Oliveira, there's been some fights where he's been at, the prop for inside the distance is sitting at like minus 190 because he's had a couple of fights where he's kind of just been set up along his run. I would have to see more where this line goes, obviously, but when it comes to just all around ability, just to have seen what Chandler was able to do with Oliveira. I know Oliveira is a dog, but I feel like this, just as we've heard, all throughout fight week, how much a trilogy changes a fighter. I feel like Poirier has chiseled himself to a whole other level here, and not taking anything away from Oliveira, but if the line stays in that minus 130 range, I would lean further towards Poirier here. What do you think?
Well, right now, man, it's like these numbers are all over the place. One book's offering this, another book's offering that. I mean, like as it stands right now, I'm actually pretty intrigued by that plus 150 Oliveira. Like that. And I think we're going to see this level out. I think we see this fight go off. Poirier is absolutely going to be the favorite. But I'm just wondering where this line settles out at. And I'm thinking it probably does sit around. I think Poirier probably goes off somewhere around a minus 170 to minus 185 range. That's where I see this fight playing out. And at that number, God, Al, I just don't know, man. It's just such a good fight. Both guys so skilled in every area. Poirier just, straight up, is there a more complete mixed martial artist than Dustin Poirier? Just straight up. Like I talked about, the guy's not flashy. The guy's not Mr. Highlight Reel. But the dude does everything really good, Who has he not looked good against? The greatest fighter of all time, Khabib Nurmagomedov. And that's about it. He lost some fights early on, got finished. But just right now, this dude's just hitting on all cylinders. And it seems like as that fight stays standing, you've got to think Poirier has the advantage on the feet. But, man, Charles do Bronx Oliveira looks so gnarly on the ground. His takedown in wrestling has improved so much. It's a tricky one, man. I think if Oliveira gets on Dustin's back, it's going to play out very similar to what we saw Khabib do. I really do. I think there's a good chance Oliveira gets on dude's back and finds a choke. Is he going to be able to get there? Is he going to be able to withstand that barrage and that stand-up game of Poirier? My God, I don't know, man. I don't know. I wish I could give the people a lean right now. I cannot. I got to get into some extensive tape to even begin to wrap my mind around this matchup. And a lot of times I'll even start to kind of get the wheels spinning, right? Get the gears turning because we knew whoever wins this fight fights Charles Oliveira, plain and simple. And I felt like this fight, I was still so analytical, so balls deep into this fight that I couldn't even look ahead. I said, let's just put all that off. Whoever wins, I'll roll forward. I expected it to be Poirier. He gets it done. I'm just going to leave the people with this, man. This is going to be a great fight. And whoever wins it truly is, outside of a Khabib Nurmagomedov return, which I got to tell the folks again, even I got to let Dana White know, because apparently the dude still is hitting up Khabib. Khabib's not coming back, all right? So it's going to be do Bronx or Poirier coming out as the preeminent lightweight champion, and it's going to be head and shoulders above the rest because, we know Poirier should have had a shot at the gold if he wanted. He said, give me the money with McGregor. He gets it done. Let's be honest, though. So far, this has been a picture-perfect plan and layout to the title for Dustin Poirier, and he's marching right along, hitting every stride. And you got to think this guy's got some serious momentum. I mean, we saw do Bronx knock out Michael Chandler, but, I mean, we're talking about a Bellator guy with one win in the UFC, and straight up, do Bronx got hurt in that fight. Got hurt early, recovers, and wins the fight. Dang, all I know is it's going to be a banger, Al. What do you think, dude?
Yeah, this will be one where I will say, similar to the Oliveira Chandler fight, that the under and the fight goes the distance no, especially the fight goes the distance no, will be an L word for me.
They're cashed. I mean, I truly believe that, Al. Those tickets are cashed. I'm so with you. I don't even see that fight making it to probably the third round. I really do. I think that fight's wrapped up within 2 rounds.
Yeah,
almost certainly.
It'll be a very similar fight to Oliveira Chandler. And then one other thing, I know that the reason that they did it the way that they did it with Oliveira Chandler is because they didn't want to put Gaethje Poirier together, seeing how they both just lost to Khabib, and it kind of diminishes your title, which we'll talk about when we get to UFC 265 in a second. But they wanted to put Oliveira Chandler so that one of them is a guy who didn't lose to beat Khabib. And now you got to look at it like, even with Poirier having lost to Khabib, right? He now beat Conor twice. There's no diminishing that title now if Poirier ends up getting it. Even with the loss to Khabib, it's just like, it doesn't matter. Khabib's gone now. If Poirier wins that belt, he is going to put himself up there as to one of the greatest UFC lightweights of all time. And this is like a bloodshed super fight, because me and you have been, we've both been so high on Oliveira. We've both been super high on Poirier. This is the type of fight that I want to see a trilogy of. You know what I mean? Like, these two guys are like, it feels like they're like made for each other when it comes for a big title fight. Like, this is, I don't know how much this is going to resonate with the casual fans, but like for diehard MMA fans, Charles Oliveira versus Dustin Poirier is a super fight.
Lightning in a bottle, dude.
Yeah.
It's going to be off the charts.
Yeah. And like I said, that under, that's my first look on this, is the under, and then fight goes the distance no, which will definitely be at like -300.
Yeah.
But still, minus 300 is minus 300. You could, you could do some good things with that one. And that one will not go the distance.
Yep. And Al, man, I got to tell you, dude, I usually get a pretty, hey, listen, I'm going to toot my horn here for just 1 second. I'm real good at picking main event winners. Like it's documented. Look back at what I've done in 2021. Your boy don't miss on a lot of main events. This one's got me scratching my head. I mean, I really don't have like a gut lean either way. And I'm not big on overs or unders, but Al, I'm so with you, dude. I just think that fight, both guys go in there, go for it, and somebody finds the finish relatively quick. So that's how I'm going to look at this fight, and that's probably the angle I'm going to take, really. I don't know if I'm going to end up picking a side, which is unfortunate